J Ping here, checking in live, respectmyregion.com, back here on another episode of the RMR Podcast. We're here on the North American Weed Tour, and today I'm actually in Los Angeles. You guys, I've got a very special guest today. We've got Marshall Lionti here. He is the CEO of Redemption Botanicals. This is a group that we toured while we were in Illinois. We went to your guys' indoor cultivation facility. It was a wonderful experience getting to see your flower, getting to smoke the DNA Genetics collab, and ultimately just getting to hang out with you at the dispensary there as well.
Appreciate that.
Marshall, how you doing, bro? It's been about a month since we saw you. What's been going down? What's new?
Man, busy, Joey. I appreciate you making time today. We've been enjoying a very quick ramp up as far as getting orders out around the state. Demand has been picking up very fast. People started with a little nibble here, nibble there, and now they're asking for the whole product lineup. Feels really good. Obviously, we came to market first with just 2 strains. Those were the DNA Genetics collabs, DNA Cake, as well as Shark's Breath. But since then, we've released 4 in-house strains under the Redemption Botanicals brand. Really stoked with the way that packaging came together. The jars are sick. These are pop vac, obviously, but we've got 4 strains: Dante's Inferno, Pablo's Revenge, Watermelon Hurricane, 5280 is on the back burner, and then Pink Melons is the 5th one. So now releasing the DNA strains, releasing our own strains. We finally have 8 jars and pre-rolls of all of that. Obviously, we're selling the Cheech and Chong product, which people are really getting to enjoy. And, we got a few more things launching here in the next 30, 45 days. Our extract labs have come online. So we've got solventless, we've got hydrocarbon. We've got a collaboration in the works with Bubble Man. We're going to be producing his hash hits, and those should be hitting the shelves hopefully in 4 to 6 weeks, targeting before, obviously, Christmas on that release. But it's been a lot. Our crew is a skeleton crew. We have less than 30 people in this facility, and that includes everybody from security all the way through sales. So to have achieved this volume and the rate that everything is moving with such a small group has been challenging but extremely rewarding at the same time. So everybody's kind of just holding on for the ride at this point.
I like that you use that phrase, just holding on for the ride. I mean, it sounds like you guys have numerous projects at the same time, multiple products within those brands, their own sales funnels. There's a lot going on with what you guys are doing in your growth right now.
Yeah, we all come from the legacy space. So like when you make the jump from there to the level that we're operating at now, you remember all the things that go along with normal business. I mean, just, logistics as far as order taking, order fulfillment, order delivery, that in itself is a full-time position of a couple people. Obviously the planning on the cultivation side, making sure that the product categories are streamlined through the production process. I mean, there's just so much more to, running a business at this level than operating the grow,
it's not just as simple as, let's throw some seeds in the ground, buy some bags at the store, and figure out how to get it there in the trunk, right?
Yeah, most definitely. And then on top of that, you add on the complexity of the regulatory oversight. I mean, Illinois is definitely one of the most regulated markets in the entire nation. We get visits from the state once a week. Each of those is about 4 to 5 hours long. It's a complete comb through of all of our inventory. So, there's a lot to work around, a lot to work through. But at the end of the day, man, we love what we do, and, we're willing to do whatever it takes to get it done.
Redemption Botanicals. Where'd the name come from, Marshall?
Redemption Botanicals. So the actual applicants who applied for the craft grow license that we're operating, that was a partnership between 2 groups. One of those groups is Green Card Veterans of Broadview. The other is Redemption Botanicals Group. So that partnership is what came together to apply for the license. CEO of Redemption Botanicals Group, Bill Taki, mentor of mine, he's the person responsible for kind of getting me involved in this project. When we were thinking about what we wanted to operate as, what our in-house brand should be, really it was an homage to the Redemption Botanicals Group, who spent 4 years going through the whole regulatory process of the applications. And so many of these licenses end up in litigation, like even working through all that. It was really just a nod to them. But Bill specifically was listening to Redemption Song, a rendition of that by John Legend one night. It was like an acapella, and it just kind of came to him. So he was like, Redemption Botanicals, that's got to be us. So we've tried to carry that now. And, we went through the process of the logo design, all the branding design, and we're all really excited on how everything has turned out.
I think it's dope. I think the branding's pretty sick. I like the black and gold vibe.
Thanks, man.
I wore the hoodie the other day with
rooted in legacy, right? Like I guess that's backwards on the screen, but
yeah.
That's kind of a nod to where we all came from and what really this plant means to us. You know what I mean? It's much more than just a business or a product. This is a lifestyle. This is something that we've been involved with for myself. 30 plus years I've been smoking weed. So, we're very much in tune with the plant, and we're passionate about this thing. It's all about culture. It's all about respect, and that's really what we're trying to bring to market.
Tell me a little bit about the collaboration with, on the genetic side of things. I know DNA genetics plays a role in what you guys are doing over there, and you're helping bring their genetics to life and doing some products there. It says powered by Redemption on the back of that. Mm-hmm. That's super dope. But you also mentioned you guys have your own products to life. And so could we touch on that in two different parts? What's going on with you guys in DNA? And then what's going on with your guys' genetics?
Yeah, really what we are all about here in the production facility is variety. I mean, that's one of the best things about cannabis is you can get a million different expressions, whether the flower looks away or smells away, tastes away, affects you a different way. And what we want to make sure that we're doing is offering a product menu to the state that covers the gamut of these different profiles, right? So like we're lining up now with groups that basically have, call it a few similar strains, but they'll fall into like the OG style, or it's the candies, or it's some more nostalgic strains. Whatever those are, these brands that we're bringing to the market have their little corner of genetics. So what we want to do as a producer, a manufacturer really, is make sure that once we line up with all of these different brand houses, we are covering that range of product offerings. So DNA, their DNA cake, their shark's breath, that's what kind of they've brought to the table. Some of these other groups that we're working with, you're going to recognize those names for sure when we're ready to announce those partnerships. But specific to like our in-house brand, shout out to the homie Mile High Dave, a buddy of mine from back in Colorado. He's obviously made waves with some of the strains that he's brought to market. We ended up grabbing some cuts through him. So that's where the Dantes, that's where the Pink Melons, 5280 Watermelon Hurricane, and Pablo's Revenge all came from. So
Colorado in the house.
Yeah, most definitely. And we were super impressed. I mean, that was the first time that anybody in this place had grown those strains. And right out of the gate, we were really impressed in the way they came down. I mean, we've only delivered a little bit of product to market, just Parkway Dispensary right across the street. And half the product went in one day. The rest of it was sold out within the week. So we're about to drop our second drop over there on Friday, actually. And, the excitement has just been overwhelming. I mean, people are really impressed with not only the quality, but the variety across what we're putting in a jar. No one jar is going to be the same as the other one that is right next to it. There's definite distinction between these strains. And, that just plays back to how we like to consume cannabis. I like the variety, man. I want a flavor pack in front of me.
With such a strong lineup and already having the performance in your local market, like, the way it did in that first drop, can you touch on what the favorites are? Do you have like what's the crowd favorite? What's your favorite?
Yeah, definitely. Right now, I've been getting the biggest hype off of Watermelon Hurricane. People are really impressed by that profile. Citrus is definitely up there in the stuff that I like, but it's not my favorite. I tend to lean towards the cookies and the doughs, a lot of the dank stuff. So that Pablo's Revenge, the Dantes, those are both a little bit on the doughy, kind of grapey side of things. I'm kind of gravitating towards there. But at the end of the day, like that's the beauty about cannabis, right? Like everybody gets to pick their favorite, and they're definitely not the same across people. So it's nice to be able to bring enough variety to market that everybody can still have that one where they're like, oh, that's my jam right there.
Yeah. No, that's huge. Like, and that sounds absolutely wonderful. There's a beverage, an alcoholic drink called a Hurricane. Shout out to New Orleans for introducing me to that. And anything that's weed flavored in that realm of multiple juices, multiple berries, multiple tropical fruits coming together, that's got to be good, especially if it's got that zing to it.
Yeah, and we're pushing those strains through extract right now, figuring out how they're going to perform, whether it's going to be a solventless product or whether it's going to be a hydrocarbon, making those adjustments right now, but the terpene profiles, regardless of if they come to market in solventless or hydrocarbon, like they're going to be smashing. People are really going to be excited to grab some of that product.
Now, one thing that goes over the heads of most consumers is the difficulty and efforts and time and money, education, knowledge, experience that ultimately goes into producing high quality cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
For the next few minutes, I'd like to talk a little bit about the cultivation side. You guys, and you have a massive facility. Can you touch on the facility, and let's walk through and talk about a little bit of your styles and methodology when it comes to cultivating?
Yeah, you got it. Just a little bit of background on the license structure here in Illinois. So we operate under a craft grower license. The state gives you up to 14,000 square feet of flowering canopy. You only get to start with 5,000. You have to show that you can operate the 5,000, bring product to market, sell it successfully over time, and then they'll let you expand up. So we built out the entire 14,000 square feet. The only thing we didn't put in phase 2 is hang the lights, build the trays, connect irrigation, but everything else is there and ready to go. But as far as, phase 1 and the original cultivation operation, our style really was brought to the table by our master. I don't want to say master grower. I almost said master grower. That's not like me. Our director of cultivation, Dread Smokes Weed on Insta. He's 30 years in the game. He's been 20 years in the regulated market. Definitely legacy. His pop incarcerated for growing cannabis in his time. So very much, a cannabis person for life. He's got a program that he really likes to run. That's really the style that he's brought as far as plants per light and what they're growing in and irrigation events and all that kind of stuff. So, having somebody with that skill level who's been so successful at so many of these large scale operations coming into this and knowing what he wants to do right out of the gate, that's why we've been able to achieve this level of success on harvest number 1. I mean, numbers were over the top. Quality was over the top. I mean, everything that we kind of penciled out for what we thought the facility should be doing, we exceeded right out of the gate. So, when you have somebody with that skill set come to the table, the results are almost immediate.
Time is money in cannabis. It's not dog years, it's cannabis years, they say.
Yeah, most definitely.
Right? Every harvest, every month, those mistakes are crucial if you have critical errors made at the wrong times.
Mm-hmm. And, nobody's perfect. I mean, the reality is, this is a brand new facility. I don't think we're going to be hitting everything exactly how we want it for, 12 months after this thing fires up. So we are definitely perfectionists. We have a very high expectation for ourselves and for what comes out of this facility. So, we're our biggest critics. We're always going to have, well, we could have done better here. We could have done better here. Where maybe, the majority of folks would look at something and say, holy shit, this is fantastic. How could you do better? But for us, there's that continual process improvement that we're always looking for, in our facility.
It's funny too, because I always say the genetics, the breeders, they're like the music producers, right? By time, those people have identified the trend that they're about to set, right? With the music, or in your guys' case, with the genetics, right? Mm-hmm. By the time the song comes out, that shit's already old. That shit's been old news to a group of people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's funny because, how can a redemption get better? How can a DNA genetics, how can that get better, right? And I go back to the reviews that I did, and I'm like, I like the packaging. I like the branding. I like the colors. Does it stand out? You think about all these different things that go into a product, right? And it's not just about the weed at that point when it becomes a product, right? It becomes, the brand and the story, and is there information and the COA and whatever, right? All these, that's the THC, right? Whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, when you remove a lot of that subjective stuff and you just think about, okay, great weed. Well, by the time you guys get a hold of the genetics that are popular or fire or new or whatever, right? The hype strain shit, even if it is great and checks out, it still takes you time to grow it and to grow it good over multiple batches to figure out what you want. By the time that happens, we're 18 months down the road.
Yeah, you're right on. I mean, I cut my teeth. I made a name for myself popping seeds. I mean, I've always been a flavor junkie. I want all the variety. I love finding the new expression, whatever the cross is. So, that's something that we're doing here. I mean, right now we're on about day 21, day 24, maybe, in a room that's our first production round of selections that we made from a seed hunt that we did. We popped those seeds 6 months ago, and now the first round of selections are in production, and those won't come down the pipeline and be available in stores for another, call it 6 to 8 weeks. It's a long process to get this stuff going. So you got to love it. You got to be patient. You got to just believe in what you're doing, stay in your lane, focus on your products. But yeah, that overnight success, that overnight 10 out of 10, that rarely happens. It takes time to achieve these milestones. And, we're in it for the long haul. We're going to be here for a minute, and we're taking the right steps to ensure that along the way, we're bringing our own new discoveries to market, as well as working with these other groups who are doing their own pheno hunting and their own, selections on their end. So we're kind of working in tandem to make sure that the total offerings coming out of the Redemption Botanicals facility are really, forefront, cutting edge, new genetics, plus some of the staples that nobody ever wants to give up.
Like staying on the same track and train of thought, right, within the cultivation, right? Like, the power of genetics is important, right? We know that. Now, to get to that good quality cannabis that I smoked and gave solid scores to, there's a variety of essential, integral parts of the puzzle when it comes to growing. There's the nutrients, there's the veg and the flower and the bloom and the all these different things that go into it, the lights, right? And so how did you guys get to such a, I always call it, peanut butter and jelly. How did you guys create such a high quality premium peanut butter jelly product, right? How did you guys create such a high quality premium indoor cannabis product? Great branding, great flower. What's the recipe for that, at least in your eyes? And you don't have to, it's not, this much nitrogen and this time and this specific day of the thing. Like, we don't need to go into all that, obviously, right? But what do you guys, for your process, what do you guys really do that helps you guys lead down that path?
That's a good question. I mean, for us, like, you've kind of got to start with the passion. Like, you've got to believe that, hey, if I'm going to go above and beyond for this plant, the plant's going to do all that it can. And then obviously in turn, it's going to reward us and give back to us. So, the environment is probably like the most important thing, right? Like, there's a million different lights you can choose. Some are going to give you better results than others, but at the end of the day, the environment the plant is growing in is most important. Are you hitting your set points on temperature and humidity? Are you making the appropriate changes throughout the growing cycle of the plant? That's really going to drive one of the biggest impacts to that quality at the end of the day. Same with lights. You've got a million different nutrient lines out there, and some are going to do better than others. But for the most part, like a skilled grower with any light and any nutrient, as long as he's got his environment, he or she has their environment dialed, you're going to get to the end step with at least 85, 95% of that potential quality. Those kind of nuanced things to get that last 5% of like, okay, this is the best it could have done. That just comes from time and experience with the plant. Running something 3 or 4 times to know, hey, after week 2.5, after week 3, we want to do X, or we actually need to do that earlier or later, or, hey, we're going to harvest this on day 56 instead of day 62 because we thought it ripened a lot faster this round. Like, there's just kind of those small knobs that you're going to continue to play with over time. And then you're going to end up getting to, okay, this is exactly how we want to run this strain to achieve that maximal, product quality that we're trying to hit.
It's quite a repetitive process to get to grow, like to find a great strain and ultimately a product at the end of the day. Like you said,
absolutely
rare to get that 10 out of 10 winner in the first round.
Yeah, from the time that we take a clone to harvest is 13 weeks, right? So that's 4 months. So you've got a really long, kind of leeway to say, okay, that was trial number 1. Now let's change a couple things and do it again. Before you know it, it's been 2 years and all of a sudden you finally landed on the right recipe. And like you said earlier, now everybody's tastes have changed. So you've always got to be willing to, put in the time. What's going to hit is going to hit. Stick to your guns, do the shit the way you want to do it. Let that quality speak for itself has kind of been our motto.
When you were walking around and showing us the tour, you had the same look that every other super duper passionate guy that's in love with what he's doing had when you're walking around. You're looking and you're studying, and you're loving what you're looking at, but it's never good enough because you're in the phase where you're trying to get better right now, right? And so, when you're walking through the grow, You're thinking about what specific things are, to help it become the best of the best. So you're walking through your flower room. What are you looking for right now when you're walking through your flower or your veg in this current phase of your life? Because you're not looking for the 101, 201 level issues. You're looking for that top 10%. What are the issues that affect cannabis at this level, at these
Yeah.
strains, in these environments? So what
It's
are you looking for in those worlds?
it's interesting because myself as the CEO versus my director of cultivation, we'll be looking for different things. And really, as a leader of an organization, it's my responsibility to provide everybody that works here with the tools required to do the job that has been asked of them. So when I'm walking through the grow, I'm looking, hey, it's day 28. Did we get through plucking by day 23, day 24? Because if not, that means we're late, and that means that the staff couldn't keep up, meaning I've got to up my employee numbers. So I'm looking at more of like the operational constraints.
Okay.
Does the team have what they need to achieve the goals that Sean Dredd, our director of cultivation, has set for the whole life cycle of the plant?
So it's like checking the performance at these various points to make sure that things are running efficiently.
Yeah. How many days did it take us to harvest a room? Like we want to be doing it in one day. Did it take us 2 days this time? Is that because we took too long doing fresh frozen? Like all of those operational metrics, that's really where I'm focused on right now. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a manufacturing facility. We produce products that get sold wholesale. So like, how are you streamlining the process? How are you consistently improving? How are you saving money on not wasting stuff? Like that's really where I'm focused as I walk through the grow. I don't have to necessarily focus on, does the plant look like it's been given too much nitrogen? Is there a claw on the leaf? Like that really falls in the realm of Dredd. Now, if I see something, and I'll mention it to him, but at the end of the day, he is more than capable of doing that kind of pulse on the garden to make sure everything's happening like it should. And
we have to trust in the team. We have to have that strong trusting culture and let people play their roles.
Totally. I mean, that's the reality of it. Like no one can do this thing by themselves. This project is way bigger than any one of us individually. So it's just like, hey, provide all the support you can in the role that you're playing. Everybody comes together and now we succeed as a team.
I love that. When I, walking through the facility, there was some key things that I really remembered, and it was just the consistency across the board, and also too the respect that you paid to your collaboration partners. I think that's something that you guys, have, your tagline, the rooted in legacy. I think DNA genetics is one of the groups that really defines legacy in the genetic space. I would say counter or something along those lines. That's not the right words. In addition to them, I don't know how much more legacy you get in Hollywood culture than Cheech and Chong.
Yeah,
right?
Spot on with that, man.
And so I want to chat a little bit about these collaborations. Obviously, DNA Genetics, those are the OGs. They've created some strains that are very popular still to this day. In a world filled with candies and gas and cuts and all these different pheno numbers on the same strain name, they definitely stand out among their own thing. And so from you guys, I tried the DNA cake and the Shark's Breath 2.0, I want to say.
Yep.
And I'm also aware, I think they're the guys that did the kosher kush. No, is that correct?
They did. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's like kosher kush is used in a lot of different things. People use that to stabilize things, to bring a little cushiness into it, oftentimes to increase either a specific terpene or even potency into some degree. What has it been like bringing their genetics to life next to your guys' own things?
I mean, it's great, like what we said earlier, just having that variety across all things that are coming out of this facility. That's really what we're about. I love that variety. I want to see each of these groups with their own 5-6 strains, touching a certain segment of the market. There's a certain buyer that wants this profile. So, for that kind of, setup, I think it's great. As far as Cheech and Chong, like you said, there really isn't anybody that was more of a cannabis proponent in, the I hate to say late 1900s. How weird does that sound? But like, the 70s, all that time, like Cheech and Chong were piping up about weed way before it was acceptable to talk about it in public. So, so many years later now, to have entered into a partnership with these guys, being the exclusive manufacturer and wholesale distributor of their products in the state of Illinois. Like, we take that very seriously. That's, a lot of responsibility that's been given to us.
I've definitely seen their products around. Sitting here right now, I don't know that I've tried it outside of one of their beverages. Okay. What are some of those strains and some of those SKUs?
Yeah, so we've I don't have a box with me, but this is actually one of what's called the Chonged product. So the Cheech and the Chonged are two products under their Legends line. These are 1 gram all-in-one disposables. There's distillate in here, but the Cheech, actually, we add in CBC and CBG, so a little bit more of an uplifting experience. All of the cannabis-derived terpene blends that are in here as well are, that kind of more vibrant, that bright kind of flavor profile for the Cheech. And then the Chong is the opposite side. So we're adding CBN, we're adding CBD, and then those terpene profiles are more dank, the Triangle Kush, the Rainbow Sherbet, the Blue Gushers. Wow. That's really what's coming out of that line. But as far as, a alternatives to some of the just straight disty pens out there, people have really been enjoying these products. I mean, the form factor itself is pretty dope too. That is an
iSpire hardware, yeah?
Yeah, spot on. Good eye. So they designed this thing to look. Yeah, they designed this thing for Chong, actually. So that's his bandana, that's his blue T-shirt, and these are his blue jeans. And if I showed you the Cheech one, it's his red beanie, it's his yellow shirt. There's like suspenders on the back, and then khaki pants.
Wow.
Yeah, so they did a really good job there. And then the third product line that we're doing for those guys is called the Dave product. So these are 510 thread disposable 0.5 gram and 1 gram ceramic cartridges. This is truly just distillate with botanical terps. There's a large market out there that is looking for the most value out of a purchase, right? So the cartridges tend to play towards that side, and then the all-in-one is a bit of a step up on that experiential, range of distillate products.
That's amazing. Any flower for them, or are we sticking with them?
Yeah, actually. So we started with a little 6-month get to know you phase where we were just doing the vape pens and the cartridges. Everybody has been playing nice in the sandbox, so we're all very excited about continuing this partnership. We've recently expanded now to have licensed flower products, edible products, basically anything THC that Cheech and Chong has in their overall product library, we can now produce here in the state of Illinois.
Amazing. So, congratulations. That's exciting.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're going to be doing some flower for those guys here pretty quick. And then probably, I'd say mid Q1, maybe pushing to Q2, we're going to start doing some infused pre-rolls and things like that for them as well. And then later in 25, we'll add on gummies onto the list.
I'm trying to get cheeched. I'm trying to get chonged. I'm trying to be eaten by some shark's breath. You guys are coming in hot, man. That watermelon hurricane has my name all over it. I feel it, man. The buyers out there, they better watch out. Redemption's going to come knocking here soon, man. There is some fire on your menus right now. And there's two key things I really like about those Cheech and Chong vapes. I love that you put 2 different cannabinoids in there to create your own uplifting version, or we'll call it the sleepier version or the relaxing version. Yeah. I find that CBN and CBD together with the THC is a great experience, or versus just only relying on THC and high CBN. I feel like the 5, or at least in edible form, like the 555 tends to be great. Proving that you don't need the highest THC with the same exact millions of milligrams and the other cannabinoids. The magic of these strains is that they're not 100% THC, 100% all the other cannabinoids at the same time. They're all
exactly. That's why I'm just such a fan of like the full spectrum extract version of a vape pen, live resin, live rosin. Like that's where I tend to gravitate towards, just because you're getting those cannabinoids and terpenes in the ratio that existed on the plant as the plant grew naturally. It's not, let's pull everything into a jar by itself and then start mixing it all back together. This is truly a representation of that unique genetic expression from that one pheno that, whoever loves to grow grows.
Now, I really appreciate you, showing a lot of love to your collaboration partners. And I know you mentioned some of your guys' strains, but we cannot gloss over the fact that those strains you're growing for yourself, the fun ones, they're going to come in a variety of form factors. What are those form factors, my friend?
Yeah, most definitely. So right now, available on our menu, we have 1/8 jars of everything. We have 1 gram pre-rolls of everything. Cool. Eventually, we're going to have also a vape pen, so like a live resin or a live rosin, depending on which extraction method it does better in. And then also a dabbable concentrate, basically dabs in a jar, right? Yeah, so we really want to make sure, and that's one of the coolest things, in my opinion, about the license, the craft grower license that we operate as. In most states, you're either a cultivator or an extractor or an infuser. Here, we can do all that stuff under one roof. So I want to make sure that out of every harvest, 20, 30% gets in the freezer so we can have some fun on the extract and the vape pen side. Absolutely. Along with flower. Because, depending on the day, I want to smoke a joint or I want to take a dab, right? But I still want to be able to look to those strains that we really love and have that option available to me.
I don't know your habits, and I won't speak to it, but I tell you what, every day I'm trying to smoke Redemption and take Redemption dabs and then get in the car and work and vape Redemption vapes. I don't know about anybody else, but that's what I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're aligned on that one, buddy. We're aligned. So here's actually the pre-roll that's about to hit the market too.
Nice.
So that's our 1 gram premium roll, nothing but top quality cannabis flower in here.
I like that.
Have all of your labels, all your warnings, all that fun stuff on the back here.
That looks great. That blue is popping on there. It's funny. I never thought about those, I guess, that color scheme, but it does kind of remind me of a reverse engineered nighttime Denver Nuggets color scheme.
Okay, I can see that. I like that.
Which I kind of like going back in the day because I used to, Carmelo, he played no defense, but shout out to Carmelo. But he did make the Nuggets one of the most fun teams to watch. And for a period of time, I thought, damn, man, that brand is dope. Like everything I liked about that color scheme was sick. And now that I look at your brand, I feel this same elevated vibe to like something of that caliber. So that to me is sick. I've got a couple more questions for you. Nothing too crazy though. Let me just double check my list, make sure I'm not skewing too far. I did take 2 dabs over here. Okay. So 2 more things over here, and then we'll see what I freestyle with. So, you guys obviously you mentioned that right now you're only selling your product Redemption to Parkway Dispensary there in Tilton. So it's selling there. It's sold well. You're going through it. Next batch is coming. Timeline on that, real quick.
That's going on Friday, the next drop over at Parkway.
Next batch available on Friday.
Yep, but starting tomorrow, those products are also going to be shipped up to the city. So I'd say by the end of next week, you'll find these in 25, 35 stores, something like that around the Metroplex, and then a few spread out around the state as well.
Any heavy hitters you can name?
Yeah, Stash Dispensary. Definitely go look them up. Stash in Orland Hills, Stash down in Peru. Big supporters of ours. Shout out Dan. Both Dan's actually. High Haven, another awesome social equity license chain of stores. And then, we're also getting some support from the big guys. I mean, GTI, they threw in an order for 10 stores on the Cheech and Chong stuff. Same thing with New Era. All their stores got an order in. So we're getting love from both sides of the table at this point, and we do appreciate that support. Obviously, it's nice to be able to have some people excited to represent your products and make that available to consumers here in the state.
Them MSOs sometimes, man. Shout out them when they choose to support the craft operators with the right partnership.
Yeah, it's a David and Goliath kind of thing. We're not necessarily going after them, right? But we're all operating in the same marketplace. So when people can play nice, work together, and support each other, it's a pretty big market here in Illinois. So I think there's plenty of room at the table for everybody.
I love that. Now, you obviously have a series of goals from this last year and the last few months that are being executed upon right now. The second delivery to Parkway, the other deliveries to these other 35, 40. It seems like the goals and the things that you planned to happen, that you manifested, they're happening. Taking a step back, we're towards the end of the year. What do you have coming for 2025?
We are very excited to get phase 2 operational. I mean, right now, that 5,000 square feet of canopy, we're definitely kind of getting everything dialed in for that. But we want to hit production volumes and, bring in the rest of these brands such that we're having these weekly harvests and we're getting fresh product out into market consistently, new strains that people are excited about. That's really the big push that we're looking for in the early part of 2025. And then, just to kind of spread out more on the retail front. It's my goal to be approaching 100 stores by the end of the year. We just started selling through to stores in September, and right now we're at about 45, 50 stores, I think, that we're on the shelves with. So it's been a quick...
That's for the DNA genetics and the Cheech and Chong?
Across all products. So
okay.
Some stores just came to the table for the Cheech and Chong stuff. We've managed to, send them some samples of some of our in-house flower. And they go, oh shit, I didn't realize you guys were actually growing. A lot of these craft growers out here, they haven't been able to stand up their cultivation. So of the 17 licenses that are operational, I think less than half of that are actually producing their own in-house flower. So when some of the bigger guys find out, it's like, oh, okay, well, if it's not just repackaged MSO weed, yeah, we'll take a couple cases. So we've been able to kind of knock down some of those doors. But yeah, nice. the expansion on the retail footprint, and then obviously ramping up phase 2, that's going to be our biggest focus for that short term, kind of medium term. And then kind of in the near term, one that I did fail to mention, shout out the homie Sam. We're bringing Mile High Melts to the state of Illinois. Really excited about this collaboration here. Sam and I have worked together for over a decade, tried to stand up projects in a lot of states around the nation. So finally getting to a point where we're operating together in a regulated space, retail sales of shit that we've done together. Like that's pretty special. So excited to see the rest of these
full
brands
circle for sure
come on board. Yeah, exactly. And really start to make waves here in Illinois.
That's amazing, man. Mile High Melts on the way to Illinois, Redemption hitting on the path to 100, right? Yep. And then you got DNA, genetics, and Cheech and Chong making moves. Let's go, man. And I'll be the first to tell y'all, man. I toured the facility. I saw the products. I talked my shit. I got gamed up. I learned. He walked us over to the dispensary. He bought a couple 8s for us. I reviewed the 8s. They were good. I definitely will sit here and say that I'm excited to see your guys' genetics come through. It's not to say that anything bad about DNA. I just know that there's other things out there that when it comes to my flavor chasing, tendencies, I think you guys can even do better work than what I've tried, right?
I appreciate that. I mean, that's the reality. We're trying to get better.
Of the passion and care. So
yeah, most definitely.
I'm real excited about it, and I wish you nothing but success, Marshall. I appreciate you supporting us on the North American Weed Tour very much. Illinois was a great market. There was a lot of great products. We visited Parkway and got a variety of things and reviewed stuff. I'm actually dabbing on some IC Collective rosin over here.
Shout out to the homie Ben, man. Ben's doing great things here in the state. IC is definitely one of the forefront leaders from the craft side. Branding on point, genetics on point, just really, really a great brand. Go check them out if you haven't seen them before.
1937's Kush League, the gummies, delicious. Really enjoyed eating through those guys. Good. I also enjoyed the IC Collective blunt that I tried. There's, again, you guys, everybody had really phenomenal products. The experience was great. I mean, your guys' dispensary over there across the street, that Parkway group, man, next door to you guys literally had a little casino area, a full bar, restaurant. There was Frisbee golf stuff in the back. I mean, arguably, that little town of Tilton there is a little heaven on earth, a little island there of just wonderful amazingness, man. And big shout out to you guys and the team.
Thanks,
and thank you again for the hospitality. Now, before we get you out of here, Marshall, what would you like the people to know about your brand if they are not familiar whatsoever with Redemption? What do you feel is important for people to know about you guys if they're in a store, maybe if they're, they're just trying to find some good quality cannabis over there in Illinois?
No, I appreciate that. I think that, for us, as far as what we want to be presenting to the market, like we absolutely are shooting for the best quality that you can find in the state. And we want to bring that to market at a reasonable price to the consumer. Illinois has known for having very high prices, and then taxes on top of that are pretty nuts. So as far as what we want the consumers to know you're going to get some of the best weed in the state, and you're not going to have to pay an arm and a leg for it. Look out for these products. These are grown with love. These are grown with passion from people who live and breathe cannabis. We'd be doing the shit even if we weren't doing the shit here. So when you're trying to find an inroad into like a real cannabis experience, look for Redemption Botanicals, look for the quality that we're bringing to the market. Don't expect to pay an arm and a leg for it. You'll be very pleased when you go and pick up some of our products.
Real high quality cannabis. Redemption. Let's go, man. Illinois in the house. I appreciate you again, Marshall. Everybody, for those of you guys watching, man, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, let me double check before I get this number wrong. I believe this was episode 120, man. Let's go.
Nice. Congrats,
of the
man.
RMR podcast. That is, again, over 2 years of podcasts on this show. Illinois in the house. Redemption. If you guys fly into Chicago, I think there's 2 airports in Chicago too. If you fly into Chicago, you guys gotta go ask for Redemption. There is other weed you should ask for in Illinois too, but I'll be the first to tell you, give these guys a shot. Some fire. Make sure you guys tap in, like, follow, subscribe. What's your website so that people can tap in and find you guys?
RedemptionBotanicals.com. Easy as it gets, man. Look us up.
Easy. Tap in, like, follow, subscribe, talk shit about me, support Redemption and these guys, and I'll see y'all on the next official episode. Today's episode was brought to you guys by 2 sponsors, Redemption Botanicals and the homies over at Seedless.Media. They're a full-service cannabis marketing agency. Be sure to tap in if you're a retailer and you need Redemption, or tap in with me if you need marketing support. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Good deal.
Love you guys.